G'day guys, it's that Celtics guy here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Dennis Schröder signing, what I've seen from Nesmith and Pritchard this summer league, and how I think that off-season improvements will benefit our roster going forward, and as well as what I think our regular season roster is going to look like initially with this new signing and what I've seen. Before we go through all this, please, if you do like this content, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Would really appreciate it. This is something that I'm looking to do a lot more often. So I'd love if you could become a part of this. And yeah, so we'll start off with the Schröder signing. So we signed Schröder to a one-year deal. I believe it's a $5.9 million contract using the mid-level exception. So before I get into this signing, I want to make it clear, this is a great pickup for us. I know there's been a lot of negativity around him, but he gives us a capable scorer and playmaker. So don't get caught up in all the media negativity that has occurred this off-season since that first round exit. This guy is a baller, and I think in this new role, he's going to be able to excel because we're going to be asking him to do something a bit different to what he was asked to do at the Lakers. So last season, he averaged 15.4 points, 3.5 rebounds, 5.8 assists, which they're great numbers. They're numbers that he definitely should be getting more than 5.9 million. I feel sorry for the guy. I think Lakers offered him a 4-year, $84 million contract, which he passed up. He was betting on himself. Unfortunately, chips didn't fall his way, so it didn't all pan out. But look, it happens. Doesn't always work out, and he's now with the Celtics. He's got another chance to show what he is capable of, and hopefully he can secure that bag. I've been a really big fan of Schröder for the past couple of years, since he was time at OKC. So I really hope that he can kind of recapture some of that, especially if he can recapture some of that form that he had at OKC, where he was second in six-man voting. That's only 2 years ago. Now, look, to be fair, he's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he's someone that is willing to take those shots, and he can make them. He's a career, I think, 34% shooter, so definitely not the best. But I think with this team, he will have the ability to space the floor a bit more. I think his playmaking as well is going to allow him to be able to make those shots, because he's going to have other players there that can drive, that can keep the defense in check, and they're kind of going to be going, do I need to keep my eye on Schröder? Do I need to maybe move in a bit more to help cut off Richardson? What do I do here? So definitely opens that up. It also, it is going to take some of the pressure off Smart. I think going into this season, it was kind of like, well, Smart's going to be the third man. He's got to be increasing his points, which I'd love to see. But I think Smart's role is going to be sort of that 12 to 15 points per game, which is great. But if he can not take as many shots, if he can get that in sort of a healthy amount of shots, that's going to be great. I think Schröder will allow him to do that, because Schröder's another guy that can score. So I'll allow Smart to work more on his defense and his playmaking. And to be honest, Schröder also is an enticing trade piece come trade deadline, especially if he can replicate some of his form. I know there wasn't a big market clamoring for him. Obviously, we got him on a ridiculously cheap deal. But come trade deadline, injuries happen. There's going to be a team that's thinking that they may be in contention. They need, whether it's a starting or a backup point guard or shooting guard, Schröder can be enticing. If we don't see ourselves as contenders, which I don't think we will, based on the team that we've got together so far, maybe we're happy to give him up. Who knows? We could maybe even turn that into a first-round pick, similar to what OKC did with Horford. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there with Schröder. So he's a great pickup. Please, trust me, you're going to love having him on the team. I'm expecting big things from him. Moving on to our two second-year rookies, Aaron Nesmith and Pritchard. Obviously, they've been playing at the Summer League in Las Vegas, I believe it is. And Yeah, Pritchard was the man of the hour in the first game, but this second game is where I saw a bit more from both of them in terms of what we really needed to see. So I'm going to break down each one of them and kind of what I think these improvements that I've seen potentially mean for us this season. So we'll start off with Nesmith. So Nesmith led the Celtics in the most recent Summer League game with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists, and only in 21 minutes. Now, he got those points from a very, very efficient 13 of 18 shot attempts and 7 from 9 from 3 points. Remember, we brought this guy in expecting him to be a sniper, and it took a while. We started to see a bit more of that by the end of the season, and if these numbers are any indication, he's kind of got over that hump. He's able to operate better on the offensive end against more NBA kind of caliber players. Obviously, it's Summer League, so they're not the best of the best, but still, it's a great improvement. Now, obviously, I don't expect these numbers come the regular season, but he does seem to understand what we need from him. He needs to be someone that can make those contested threes, and that's what he was trying to do. I saw after the game, he was answering some questions. Someone asked him if he was working on anything. He actually mentioned, he wanted to work on those contested threes, because if he can knock those down, that means that the defense can't lag off on him. They've got to be up in his face, which means there's more space for Tatum and Brown to drive. I also think that he can form a pretty good partnership with Robert Williams. So Williams can grab those offensive boards. He can grab that. If he can kick that out to Nesmith, if the defense have started closing in, bam, that's 3 points. That's what I'm seeing for Nesmith at the moment. How he progresses further throughout the season, who knows? Maybe he turns more into sort of a 2 to 3 level scorer. But at this stage, someone that's just going to be out on the wing, can make his shots, and keep the defense honest. So somewhat similar to Jay Harris, I guess, is how I'd kind of describe him at this stage in terms of the role and the fit that we need from him. Now, Pritchard chipped in. He got 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 12 assists. Now, the most impressive part of his playmaking was there were actually a bunch of passes that he made to guys where the ball didn't go in, but he was getting them in the right spots. He was making those passes. He was thinking quick, and he wasn't getting discouraged by the fact that sometimes the shots weren't going in. So that's really what we need from him. I need to see that playmaking improvement. We all know that he can shoot and he can score. He kind of came in and showed, hey, I'm a guy that's going to be real energetic on the defensive end and on the offensive end. Yeah, I can get some buckets. I can shoot. I can kind of space the floor out a bit. But what we really need, especially going into this season where he's a bit of an older player, I think he did the full 4 years at college before entering the NBA. We need him to come in and kind of be that calming force to a degree, especially if we are going to have a couple more erratic guys on the bench that are going to be playing in that second unit. So that's really what we need from him. And I think he can get there somewhat. Look, if he can chip in 10 points, 3 to 4 assists, that's fine. I'm more than fine with that from our second year rookie coming off the bench. Those are great numbers. So I think he's got a promising season ahead of him. We'll wait and see. Now, moving on to the third section. Here's how I kind of see our lineup occurring, at least at the start of the season. Now, mind you, I'm not going to be doing all 15 players. I'm just going to be doing 10. So your starter and their backup. Obviously, as injuries occur, different matchups, things will change, but this is kind of how I see it occurring. Now, it's pretty much unchanged from the previous video. I've got Smart as our starting point guard, Nesmith as our starting shooting guard, Brown as our starting small forward, Tatum as our starting power forward, and Williams as our starting center. Now, this gives us a couple of things. This gives us length, which we really need. If Smart is your smallest guy on the floor, you're doing pretty well on that end. You can be a defensive juggernaut. I think, I think Brown and Tatum, that's where they're going to make a bit more of an improvement this season, is on the defensive end. Nesmith will help keep the defense honest, allow more space to open up. And Williams, I like him starting. The more, as the off-season progresses, we get closer to the new regular season, the more I'm thinking we've got to start with Williams. So that's where I'm going. We've got the scoring from Brown and Tatum. We've got the spacing from Nesmith, playmaking from Smart. We've got Williams, just his energy. And then for our second unit, I've got Pritchard and Schröder in the backcourt. Richardson out on the wing. Parker at the 4 and Horford at the 5. So with this one here, you've kind of got Horford as that veteran presence. He's going to really calm everyone down. He can assist with the playmaking. Defensively, he is sound. I love him defensively. Richardson, is that guy. I like Richardson. He's going to be a great pickup for us. I know a lot of people aren't big on him. He's going to be a great pickup for us. And I think coming off the bench, where he's kind of going up against lesser players compared to the past few seasons where he's been starting, I think that's going to help him, because in a lot of teams, he's going to be a starter. Schröder and Pritchard, they kind of just gives that 1-2 punch off the backcourt where, look, they can shoot, they can drive, and they can both play make. Parker's there because, look, I'm not big on Parker. We don't have anyone better. If there's a way for us to get rid of Parker, maybe, I know we want to move on from Chris Dunn. If there's a way for us to get rid of those, somehow bring in Paul Millsap. I know he's still looking for a team. I'm chucking Millsap in as the backup for immediately. But in terms of who we've got available at the moment, Parker's our best option. He's an afterthought, but there he is. So it'll be really interesting to see how this team gels. I think this team's early identity is definitely going to be built on being defensive team, but also one where you're going to see a lot more ball movement than we've seen, especially last season. We were really bad with ball movements and assists, and that's not going to happen. We've seen Ime Udoka talking about that even at the press conference where he was announced as the head coach. That's something that just wasn't going to fly with him. So that's kind of how I'm seeing this going. Guys, if there's anything you want me to talk about, if you do have any questions, leave a comment, but otherwise, chuck us a like, chuck a subscribe, and thanks for listening, guys. Peace.